Hello, I'm Jennifer Lundy, and today my project is going to be on cyber incidents, response, and recovery. My report focuses on cyber incidents, response, and recovery, utilizing a real-world issue that will assist members of my community. Personal identifiable information, PII, should be especially protected for the vulnerable community. The Abused Women's Shelter has not updated technological response with safety for community members. When women enter the shelter, they are still technologically attached to their abuser. Their Gmail is their main form of communication, and that can be breached with ease, even with multi-factor and two-factor authentication. The breach can shut down the system and allow for others' information to be stolen. There are many ways the stalker or attacker can breach the shelter system. They may share bank accounts, social media accounts, and bill pay accounts together. This information is easily breached, and the abuser can find out where the woman is housed. If the location of the shelter is given up, it can have a negative repercussion, such as the abuser can stalk the woman, or the woman become vulnerable, and the law enforcement will have to get involved. This project combines incident response and recovery with a cybersecurity awareness project and good alternatives for the abused woman who is attempting to erase her online presence for her own protection. Firewalls for an abused women's shelter. Firewalls can protect those at the shelter by blocking access to malicious websites and malware. They can be configured to block access, which will protect residents and staff from cyber attacks. Preventing unauthorized access to the shelter's network, it can also protect confidential data such as resident information and all financial records. Firewalls can be used to restrict access to the network to authorized devices and users only. Monitoring network traffic for suspicious activity. This is another way that firewalls can be configured to monitor network traffic for suspicious activity, such as attempts to access blocked website or malware downloads. This can help the shelter to identify and respond to security threats early on. In addition to these general benefits, firewalls can also be used to implement specific security measures, such as blocking access to the location and preventing abusers from contacting the resident via email, phone, or social media. They can also protect the resident's privacy. The size of the shelter's network and the number of clients and the budget are a few things to think about, and further research shows that there are several options available, such as pfSense, Untangle, and SonicWall. We see that most are not using any firewall protection whatsoever. If there is a cyber incident, the government office that assists with those breaches is CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. CISA is a division of the Department of Homeland Security. It's responsible for coordinating the national response to threats and incidents. When a shelter is breached, law enforcement will have to get involved. There are a lot of resources and services, such as incident response assistance, vulnerability assessments, threat intelligence, training, and education. In addition to CISA, there are a number of other government agencies that play a role in responding. That includes the FBI, Secret Service, and NSA. Further research has shown that internet stalking is prevalent, and it especially affects Black and Hispanic women. They are more likely to be stalked online than white women, and that younger women are more likely to be stalked online than older women. Online stalking can take many forms, including unwanted messages, tracking someone's online activity, or posting threatening or embarrassing content about them. What shelter residents can do is block the person, report the stalking, and also save evidence of the stalking. This evidence can be used to support a police report or a civil lawsuit. You can also talk to someone about what is happening. Be careful about the information you share online. Use strong passwords and enable two-factor authentication on all of your online accounts. This will make it more difficult for someone to hack into your accounts and steal your information. Don't friend or follow people you don't know or trust. Be aware of the privacy settings on your social media accounts. Use a VPN when you're using public Wi-Fi. This will encrypt your traffic and make it more difficult for someone to track your online activity. Going incognito is also a great idea. This is some of the Pew research. Next, we'll be discussing intrusion detection systems. This is the process of identifying and responding to unauthorized access or activity on a computer network or system. This is a crucial step in completing an incident report. When a woman finds out she is being stalked, an incident report should be started by the shelter system. The IDS are software or hardware devices that monitor network traffic and system activity for signs of intrusion. This can also be investigated by a security analyst. There are two main types, network intrusion and host-based intrusion. IDS can use a variety of methods to detect intrusion, including signature-based, and anomaly-based. IDS are an important part of a layered security defense. They can help to detect attacks that would otherwise go unnoticed. They can do early detection of attacks. They can also improve security posture. Some of the problems with that is that you may get a false positive, and it is also a time-consuming process, but it is valuable and it should be implemented in the local shelter. This is an example of an IDS. Next, we'll be discussing a recovery after a cyber incident or a breach. There are a number of different tools and technology that can be used to support cyber incident recovery, such as backup and recovery of your software. Software can be used to create and restore backup of system data. There's a security incident response tool. The tools can be used to automate and streamline cyber incident recovery process. There's also cloud recovery services. They can provide organizations with access to computing resource and data storage in the event of a cyber attack. There are some tips here for developing a cyber incident recovery system. You should identify your critical assets such as your system's data and applications. These are those you cannot afford to lose or have disrupted. Within an abused shelter, you do not want to lose access to where the residents are located. You should next assess your risk. Once you identify your critical asset, you need to assess the risks of those assets and develop a recovery plan that's tailored to your specific needs. You should also test your recovery plan. An entire system can shut down if an abuser breaches these shelters' databases. There could be catastrophic events if a stalked woman is found and the entire shelter location is made known to the public. This includes safety issues, and it is also against the law to let people know where the shelter is located. When women enter the shelter could have in place a cyber awareness system. Within the awareness sheet, there should be a checklist of ways to prevent cyber stalking and geolocation. Going incognito on all searches would be imperative. This will prevent unnecessary visits from law enforcement and protect the safety of the residents and staff. It is necessary for cyber incident response. The appropriate entities should be contacted to protect safety for all. The first line of defense should be firewalls and intrusion detection systems installed on all workstations and residents' phones. If a breach is detected, a lockdown should commence and a recovery system should restore access safely. Here is our reference page. Next, we will go over to the Cybersecurity Awareness Project for the shelter. The cyber incident involving the protected personal information of abused women's shelter personnel would be a serious security breach with potentially devastating consequences. The PPI of these individuals is highly sensitive, and its disclosure could put them at risk of harassment, intimidation, and violence. In the event of an incident, the shelter should take the following steps: immediately contain the breach, assess the damage, and notify those affected. You should also be transparent with the affected individuals. Take steps to prevent further breaches. By following these tips, abused women's shelters can minimize the damage caused by a cyber incident and protect the safety and security of the women and personnel. Domestic violence shelter locations are protected by law, but when clients check in, their phone location and all relevant searches are easy to be accessed by the abusers. Those with social and email accounts should be given a cyber awareness website to follow upon admission to the shelter. They should teach abused women the best techniques for cybersecurity. This could include topics like how to make secure passwords, how to use social media privacy settings, and how to keep their devices safe from viruses. The abuser can blackmail their victims and spread rumors about them. Upon entrance to the shelter, a questionnaire and checklist must be completed. The shelter residents will be shown the cyber awareness step and the importance of them, and residents will perform a daily cyber checkoff. Searching incognito, logging in anonymously, avoid sharing social media information, wiping hard drives, installing firewalls on the main computers, making backup and changing their password. An idea of that, some of the processes we can use are the pfSense firewalls, use CISA's resources, be aware of the Pew Research, and work with some IDS systems. This is an informational video. Shelter residents report that the data has been breached in the following ways: Gmail, cell phone, banking information, social media, and geolocation. When women enter the shelter should have in place the cyber awareness system. Going incognito would be imperative. If a breach is detected, a lockdown should commence, and a recovery system should restore access safely.